Hello. Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunch Without Lunch in person and online. I'm Amber Rowden. I'm the community storyteller here at Rainforest, Alberta. If you're new to Lunch Without Lunch, please raise your hand in person. Yay! Welcome. Welcome to the first Lunch Without Lunch. If you're new online, please drop an emoji on the chat. Introduce yourself in the chat. We'll also get to know each other later on here in person. Next slide, please. So I want to start with the land acknowledgement. So in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika, the Kainai, the Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, and the Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. And if you are coming from somewhere else online, in the province, in the country, or the world, please share your own land acknowledgement in the chat. And as always, if you'd like to share your own reconciliation or land acknowledgement, please feel free to contact me or Bridget, and we're happy to have you do so at Lunch Without Lunch. And Bridget Legault is also here. She's the community manager at Rainforest Alberta here in Calgary. She will be joining us soon. Next slide, please. So Rainforest Alberta, we are a community of entrepreneurs that are supporting each other on their entrepreneurial journey. We're building a culture of trust and diversity and supporting each other. So we have a video for you to watch.
What does it take to realize an idea? Or for a seed to sprout? At Rainforest Alberta, we know the answer is rooted in trust. Traditionally, Albertans have cultivated their ideas in established systems. Inputs that don't fit these systems are weeded out. Opportunities for growth are missed. But now, Albertans want a dynamic landscape that can evolve organically, like a rainforest. At Rainforest Alberta, we believe a culture of trust is the fertile soil where ideas grow. Our budding innovation ecosystem is a network of relationships pulling each other up as they push forward in their own field. Trust breaks down barriers. An open, inclusive network increases collaborative innovation. Successful breakthroughs inspire new ideas. A cycle begins. Rainforest Alberta is a movement to amplify trust by cultivating honesty, inclusion, and accountability. How? Our social contract holds us accountable to demonstrate trust across the province. We meet to have honest conversations around collaboration. This leads to more inclusive spaces for everyone to fearlessly build new ideas together. By raising the standard of trust, Alberta's ideas, talent, and resources can be evergreen. Visit rainforestab.ca to sign the social contract and start growing together.
So we use 6 pillars to guide our conversations and actions, and not all are weighted equally. Like any ecosystem, the right balance is crucial. So we use these 6 pillars. Culture, that's the highest weighted one at Rainforest at 30%. Then we have leaders, which are 20%, resources 15%, engaged activities such as Lunch Without Lunch and all of the other events that happen within the ecosystem are 10%, policy and infrastructure 15%, and role models are 10%. So our social contract, that is a framework for how we guide our actions and conversations and how we grow innovation in Calgary and Alberta. So there are 10 values that we live, work, and play by. And so we strongly encourage you to follow the social contract and to keep each other accountable. And that barcode will take you to the social contract. There's also those fancy stickers on the table for those in person that you can take those stickers, sign the social contract. And I'll throw the link in the chat too for people online. Next slide, please. So we have a digital community, and if you're curious about anything, tech, innovation, you're looking for help with your startup, with your next idea, a co-founder, investing, practically anything, you can join our digital platform, ask a question, and be directly matched to someone who can answer those questions right away. And so it's a great place to get diverse perspectives, have advice, mentoring, and just connect with the broader Alberta community. So highly encourage you to join that. If you have any questions, you can ask them on there, but you can also connect with me and Bridget, who can answer those questions for you. So there's a barcode there that you can scan. to join that. And I can also throw the link in the chat. And yeah, that is it for Rainforest. So I'm really excited for today to have our two awesome guest speakers. They're doing great things in Calgary and beyond. They are breaking barriers, disrupting tech. And so very excited to have Christa Hill and Renee Matsalla from Tacit Edge here to chat with us today. So please give them a round of applause. Yeah, you can sit or stand, whatever feels comfortable. Absolutely. Lunch is encouraged here. Yeah, so I guess before we get started, maybe just introduce yourselves, kind of tell us a little bit about yourselves, your background, how you met.
Do you want to take this with me? I can start. Can y'all hear this? Yes. Okay. Amazing. Yeah. So I'm Renee. This is my co-founder, Christa Hill. So we met back when we were working at Benevity. So Christa was leading the product management of their payment systems. So she's responsible for getting billions of dollars to charities around the world. And then I was more on the front end side with the giving and diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging products that we were bringing to market. So we met at Benevity, and then Christa also worked at Morgan Stanley. I've worked in Berlin, and we saw that the road to product management is not clear. And when things are not clear, it leads to inequity. So we decided we want to change this, and we partnered with SAIT and created the applied product management program there that breaks down barriers to this role of product management. Yeah. Anything to add?
Nothing to add.
More will be added throughout the session.
I'm just kidding. At this point, though, with the groundbreaking results that we've achieved within that approach to breaking the system of inequity in entering product management roles, we've developed other curriculum and apply it in different ways for not just aspiring product managers, but also for entrepreneurs and product teams that are just looking to adopt this mindset, because we know that diverse product teams build better products. So how do we get there? We want to be a part of that conversation.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. I love that. So for everyone, what is product? What is a product manager? What is product?
Yeah, what is a product? So I find the title product manager is a little bit misleading, because like anything can be a product if it solves a problem for someone. So although this thinking, a lot of it is born out of Silicon Valley and like software products, but these practices that we use to reduce risk in product development can be used for services, can be used for physical products, online products, anything that solves a problem for a human being can really be considered a product and be thought of in a scalable way. I think that's what really differentiates maybe project work versus product. Projects like, oh, it's out, it's done, okay, bye. And we know that most products were never really done. We're always learning. There's always changes. And then so in product management, we recognize that. And we use design thinking, testing, prototyping, iteration, collaboration to continually improve the products that we're using, whether it's software, service, idea, process. Internal processes use a lot of product management principles as well. Yeah, so that's a product.
So now let's define product management, because this is the one thing in the industry that we have the hardest time doing. We get really hung up telling you what we're doing, how busy we are, how important the work is, but not really why it matters and why you need one in every company, every size, shape, and wherever you are in your development cycle. So we really should be sitting at the heart of innovation and growth. And we're the folks that are looking to, as Renee alluded to, looking for that problem that a user or an industry has, or just a problem out there that could be solved. And then we connect that to a business outcome that can be achieved. Okay, and once we do that, we identify what success looks like, how we're going to measure it, so if we know if we're closer or farther away. And then we work with teams cross-functionally to help bring that vision to life using a combination of technology, people, products, services, anything that you can think of. It's all there. So it's not just building an app, it's everything that wraps around that product. That is the product. And that's what we work on. So I hope that brings some clarity to it for some folks, really identifying the problem, measuring if we are solving it, and then what's the next right step we need to take as a cross-functional team to realize more value.
That's great. No, you. So why is product management increasing in popularity, or has it always, been there and then now it's gaining awareness, or, why is it increasing in popularity?
Oh, that's a really good question, because the process of product management has always been there. Like the world has always been uncertain and there's always been problems that are really difficult to solve, but the process of testing, iterating with small experiments is how we're now realizing in the past, I'd say 30 years, that product management is really starting to kind of take over, that we don't know the answer to everything. We might think we do when we get these huge documents that say, hey, this is what we're building. Like, here are the requirements. It's like, are they requirements? I don't know. And so product managers recognize that we don't know all the answers, but we have techniques to work with teams to discover the right answers in this highly ambiguous world that we're living in. And I think it's just getting more popular now because all the easy problems are solved. Now it's just tough problems left.
Yeah, and people are really embracing, I think, a second wave of what agile really means. And if we define agile just for fun here, it's just speed to learnings. It's a mindset. It's not a framework you buy. And so if you have the mindset of accelerating the learnings in a team as you build, product management really can pour gasoline on that fire. And I think that's why we're starting to see an increase of prevalence of it as we learn more about the limitations and what we leave on the table with the waterfall approach that we've typically taken, and still utilizing more project management acumen in a team as we're building, as opposed to iterative design thinking enabled work that allows us to learn and build the right thing, instead of just the thing on time based on that requirements document. Oh, awesome. I mean, again, it's a framework that enables your team to learn and grow and move quickly. So whatever that is for you, we're here for it, right? Totally. Yeah, there's so many, but again, it depends on the scale of your business, whether or not you can afford that. Right. If you're an entrepreneur, enabling and utilizing this mindset, you don't necessarily need to buy a framework or a piece of software to help you do that. But if you're definitely working at scale, those things are ultimately useful for sure. That's all right. Thank you for that.
Oh, it's all good. So I know you're both very curious. You're both problem solvers. So I'm curious to know, what problems do you seek to solve at Tacit Edge? What makes you different than online courses? Let's dive into that.
So that was the biggest problem, like diversity in product management. So the vast majority of product managers are white men, which, we want to get diversity. The people that use products are very diverse. And if product managers are the people that are creating the vision of the future for products, that future involves everybody. And if the pathway to education is not clear, then we can't, that's like the table stakes. And before we came onto the scene, either you got hired at Google and then you got trained in product management. So that's a huge barrier. Not everyone can get hired at Google to learn these techniques. or you spent $5,000 on a 1 week long course that's theory based. And product management is not theory. You need to be able to practice it. It's a team sport. So that was the problem we seek to solve. Can we get more diverse folks hired into product management? And we have succeeded so far. So our program, it's applied. It's evenings and weekends, so anyone can join. We made it as affordable as we possibly could. Alberta Innovates has supported in getting funding for folks who have financial barriers. And as of January 2023, when we did our whole stats, we have this 73% higher rate, 72% of which are visible minorities, 56% of which are women. So we know we're moving the needle, and that's it. We're product people. We saw a problem. We saw how we could measure success. We interviewed our target audience. They told us what the barriers were, and we designed and iterated and tested around that. And we're constantly looking at those metrics to improve.
It's awesome. I love that so much. And that's actually something I was going to ask you about. So I'm really glad you shared that and touched on that. So thank you. So how do I become a product manager? Can anyone be a product manager?
Anyone can be a product manager. And I think, if you have the mindset of anything that we've described, if you're a curious individual, if you have a really weird and wonderful background of all sorts of different things, that means that you're wildly curious and interested in things and chasing ideas that sound like could be something. You are made for it. So it's just a question of whether or not you can access information around the foundational elements to see if also those things align to how you work and what you like getting out of bed in the morning for. Right? Product management is very much around solving really complex problems sometimes. And if that's the kind of problem you like to solve, then you find the subject matter that's interesting to you that you can apply that mindset to, and it's gold. It can be some of the most satisfying work that you can have. So I think that when we look at backgrounds, we don't screen for fit in our course. And because of that, we've had a cross section of folks that moved here from another country that was a gymnastics coach to like folks that are pivoting in from oil and gas. And we've got like anything under the sun that you can imagine. Folks have been attracted to just the mindset and the job. And they've, like I said, our hire rate is 72%. So I can't even tell you what fit is. It's what you decide it is. And then how you want to apply your adjacent skills and your experience to the role.
That's awesome. I think since we first talked, like that mindset that you described is something that I really, really loved. And so how do you bring that mindset to an organization?
It is difficult. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We've worked in a world where it's, okay, someone did the planning and the research. Okay, now throw it over the fence. You build it. Okay, now you go over here. And we've got huge processes all throughout organizations built around this. And it's built around this illusion of certainty because it's just hard to acknowledge that things are uncertain. So we get frameworks, we get documents, we get processes, roadmaps that try to reduce people's anxiety around uncertainty. But with product management, we acknowledge that everything is uncertain. We don't know the timeline. We don't know the exact right solution, but we have processes to do daily tests to get us closer. So that mindset shifts. It can be difficult in a traditional organization, but what starts to get people hooked is when they see learnings faster than any other group. So we've done it where we went to organizations. We worked with a large organization in the United States where they wanted to move towards the product management acumen. But they were a hundreds of year old organization with years, literally centuries of practices. And they just did a pilot with some teams that started doing this new method. And then it started to spread like wildfire because the teams that can get the learnings and can talk about real insights, real data, real success, people take notice and it starts to slowly spread. But of course, it's so much easier when leadership is bought in and willing to unlearn.
Yeah, I think that's a super important point. When leadership is like brought, like, unwilling to learn
Yeah.
and brought in,
And that's tough when you're trying to do bottom up training. And I think that's really kind of what we knew early on just from our career experience. That was like a real showstopper in adopting the mindset. So we've gone after specifically a lot of education and coaching on how to be professional and business coaches so that we can sit down with the executives and have those hard conversations. And I think when we can do that and we can manage up in an organization as we're helping them train, it makes a huge difference. Because I think we've all been in organizations where training's been rolled out and we're all training the associates at a level that is like far below the executive team. And they're all like, how did it go? We're like, great. Who's using it? Nobody, right? So I think that that's really where we come in, is that we apply the product mindset to a rollout of like training any problem that we see within an organization. We do a lot of work up front to set the stage with leadership to let them know what we're headed for and what it's going to look like. So again, that's really the secret sauce to change management transformation, is that awareness and talking about the hard things in a safe place with psychological safety so that we can talk about what could stand in the way of success.
I love that. Thank you. So I think we kind of already touched on it, but why is product management important for business? And
yeah, it's important for business if you want to survive in this very complex, difficult, to put it bluntly. The world is changing all the time. I think the last 3 years, like, we cannot ignore the massive changes that happen like every 3 months. So product people are those folks that are able to say, okay, this has changed. What's changed? How does that impact us? What's the new opportunity? What's the new risk? How do we test to mitigate this risk? So we do see that it's a bit of a ticking time bomb for some organizations. And it's but we see folks are wanting to get, companies know that, and they're adapting, often first with adopting agile methodologies. And then since agile methodologies are really delivery focused and not as much discovery and need and user validation focused, then they realize, oh, we also need the product management side and UX, where we're really talking to our users and defining our problem. Because now we got fast, great delivery iterations, but are we actually building the right thing? So that's where product management and agility really work together.
awesome. So where can I find out more?
tacitedge.ca, or follow us on LinkedIn. We're always posting there, and we love talking to people about this subject. You can tell it's our favorite subject, and especially for folks wanting to get into product management and don't know the right pathway. Like, we love talking to folks and helping out with that. That's our passion. That's what started this whole company, this whole organization. And so we love talking to folks that are pivoting, and also companies that want to take on this mindset, because we need more great companies to hire these amazing folks that are pivoting into product management.
Awesome. I think like maybe we can open the floor for questions, but I also want to give the floor to you too. And like, if there's anything else that you want to share about, your journey, about product, about Tacit Edge. I just kind of want to pass it over to you.
I'm not sure if we got any questions online, or yeah, awesome. And then April, we've got one here too.
You got one online. Did you touch on the micro credentialing yet?
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been running in and out.
Totally. Through our partnership with SATE, when they come through the applied program, it's 12 weeks, and we can see your skills in action. So we can actually issue you a micro credential that tells the market that you've been trained in applied product management. Now we have also more advanced micro credentials that we can issue through our organization, because we are seeking to create the global standard for product management globally.
early. So as you progress in your career, you can come back to us. We have more advanced competencies and ways of measuring that, and we can issue professional designations as well as coaching and leadership designations. So there is a great pathway that we're developing. And, you know, again, if you follow us on LinkedIn, you see that we are hosting pilots and experimenting with new ways to deliver this to new audiences with folks that are self-identifying as needing support.
Awesome. Okay, we do have a few more questions. So maybe just like piggybacking on that, maybe it's not entirely clear because Alan's looking at your website and he's seeing links to courses offered by SATE. So he's wondering what exactly, Alan, I'm not sure if I understand what Renee and Christa's role is at Tacit. They are the founders of Tacit Edge. And so maybe just talk about the relationship with SATE. So if that adds clarity.
Yeah, so we're partnered with SATE. So we deliver the program through SATE, so the product management side, and then we partner with SATE because they have other programs that we can then bring UX designers and developers together to work on real company problems. So we are basically they're the delivery partner for the product management side, and then that's like a 6-week intensive theory. And then for 6 weeks, the students are paired. We've got some students here paired with UX designers and developers, and SATE sources real companies out in Alberta that want help and want the product mindset, and they want UX help and they want development help, and you work with a real company. So you essentially get your first real job, real practical experience within the program. So that's the program we do in partnership with SATE. And then we have other programs through Tacit Edge, the more advanced ones.
Those are the more advanced ones, because Alan is asking for increased clarity about what Tacit does, but the more advanced programs and Tacit does.
We just basically provide you that answer the question, what's next in my career? So if you have questions about what's next in your career, just ping us. Right on Tacit Edge, you can email us, or there's links there for a free consult with us that we can talk to you about your career pathway. So the answer, the question that the SATE course answers is, I don't have Canadian experience. If you get that in an interview, or you don't have enough product experience, so we can't hire you. That ultimately is the goal of the SATE course, so that those two things are solved. Do we get you experience with building a product here and also with product teams? And then the more advanced courses are, I'm a product manager and I don't know if I'm any good at it. Okay, this is very common in the industry. I have no idea what good looks like. Everyone around me is self-trained. What's the standard? We have a series of courses associated with helping you discover that, along with coaching, so that we can take your career to the next level if you feel like you're stalled.
Yeah, fantastic. And there's a community aspect to it as well. When you sign up, because I signed up, that's very cool. So Greg is asking, kind of follow up to this. Are there any large certifying bodies similar to PMI or BABOK for product?
No, us. Yeah, we actually own. So no one. Yeah, we own the standard legally in Canada, US, and Europe.
Nice.
Everything else we see is online theory, and it's not advanced enough to be able to really certify that the folks that take that education have demonstrated product management acumen, but we are able to do that. So yeah, we own it. Yeah.
Own right here. How cool is that?
Fact, but you know, the PMI started somewhere, right? And it started of answering questions just like this. How do I know the person I'm hiring knows what they're doing? How could I tell? What does good look like, right? How do I know what a senior person looks like versus a junior? And when you have the kind of experience in industry that we've got, we had all those questions ourselves, right? So when you think about what this is born of, it is the intention to remove that ambiguity for everybody in this field, because it's hard. It can be, and people struggle with imposter syndrome. There's so many things that are created out of that lack of clarity. And that's really goal one for the company was, can we make it accessible? Can we standardize it? Can we take that across the globe? Can we make it scalable? And can we, as two people, do it? And the answer is yes. We can.
Yes. Spoken like two product managers.
Well, and can we apply our own thinking to this problem?
Yeah,
And as
amazing.
you've seen here, this is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, one of you once told me like there's product manager in everyone, and I see it now all the time with the limited knowledge I have on the profession. I just said to someone in a podcast I was recording this morning, I will be a product manager before my life ends. Because every time you
are
talk
one.
about it, I'm like, that's me.
Yeah, you are one already. And that's honestly what we find in the course. And that's why we're able to have people job ready in 12 weeks. Like that's unheard of.
Yeah.
But as product people, we're always finding like, what's the minimum that you need to meet this need? And since so many people come with incredible experience, they're able to say, oh, I've used this here. I've solved this problem over here. I've done this there. So I don't think we've met anyone that doesn't have some base experience that is entirely relevant. And sometimes when you don't have some of the education that's been out there and you haven't been working in product management, because a lot of times it's actually project management, we find those folks pick it up the fastest sometimes. Like there's no unlearning, there's just learning.
Can you talk a little bit about the kind of the market, the talent market right now, and what does it look like? I know you said you had a 70 to 73% hiring rate. What does it look like for someone either coming out of your program or somebody experienced, maybe with a bit of experience in product, who is looking for a job in the Calgary area right now in this area? Are companies hiring, and like, what does that look like for them?
I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now in the job market, just in general. I think we can all call out that this feels really uncomfortable for a lot of folks. But I also remember the industries that we operate here in Alberta have a cycle, and we've been living in that cycle. And because when we see layoffs happening, it triggers everybody. We all go into panic. What I want people to remember is tech is not tied to commodity prices. What is happening in the industry right now, as products grow and they flex and they scale, the needs of those companies change, which means they need to shrink. They don't need 10,000 devs in a non-growth time, or 5,000 product managers. Everything is always in flux. If you're good at what you do and you add value to an organization, you will always find work in any economic situation in tech. So if you think about, like, even if for those of us in the room over the age of 40, we remember a time when we could wake up and go into the office and there would be a pink envelope on my desk and there would be a blue one on the desk next to me. And then somebody would walk into the area and say, okay, everybody with a pink envelope, go this way. With a blue one, grab your bag, go that way. Right? It used to be way more volatile. And we've just come through a period where we had a lot of stability because a lot of money came in and there was a lot of growth. So just now, if we're starting to see all these layoffs, it's really a symptom of what's happening within these organizations and their products, that they're bracing themselves for longevity, which is, we need them to be doing that. But it looks and feels really uncomfortable because we're layering it with our feelings around how it feels when folks are laid off around us in this province. So as we're going through this elastic, pivoters, don't stop your pivot. Get in. Don't be afraid, because products are always growing. More money is coming in. If growth is happening inside a company, it's industry agnostic. The opportunity is everywhere. And if you have the skills to identify a problem and you can get close to a user and their problem and tie it to a business outcome that you want to achieve, you can do that in any industry, not just the one where you think you're a specialist in.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah. And I'll even add to that. So that's 73% hire rate. That's 3 months after graduation. That was like,
That's pretty quick.
absolutely insane. So what we have seen more recently is it's just taking a bit longer. But like 3 months after graduation, our students are getting picked up like, throughout. Yeah. Yeah. Our last cohort, two folks were hired in the middle of it. So it is picking up again. And also, like, AI is here. It takes people to implement. It takes people with intention to operate. It's a huge opportunity. I think we see the contraction for products that are more mature, but we're ahead of a huge boom. I know people talk
Mhm.
about AI taking jobs, but it takes a while to implement. When you go to organizations and they see they're still using Excel and paper for certain things, like
Totally.
it takes a while to adopt. So it's an opportunity for sure.
Yeah, there are plenty of industries left to be disrupted. Any, I have no words. Any questions here? Yeah, please, we'll give you the mic.
Okay. So I know you guys have done your numbers on the hiring rate. Have you done your conversion rate on entrepreneurs?
That is such a good question. I mean, yeah, I'm already talking.
We piloted right now, and we're doing it a free version of our curriculum that is online that we have been telling entrepreneurs about, asking them to acknowledge that they are in fact the first product manager in their organization. And I know there's a ton of programs that focus and help entrepreneurs get their businesses off the ground, but the product management acumen is not really addressed in there. And there's so many subtle things. So we have people in our lives that are entrepreneurs that have taken the program, and we get direct feedback from them on like, oh my God, I was not equipped to go looking for what I would need a development team for. I got my pitch right. I got my funding. Shoot. Now I have to hire a product team, and I don't know that there's a difference between my business strategy and my product strategy. So I think that's really the key is, yes, we are definitely talking to a ton of entrepreneurs. If I could put in a little bit of a plug here, we're going to be working with Platform to bring this education into the membership community so that it's more accessible, and then also hopefully be available for time that you can come talk to us here occasionally so that we can just, encourage you to stay the path so that when you are ready to hire your first product manager, again, you know the mindset and you can trust that you know what good looks like, and you can pass the reins to somebody so that there isn't a massive tug of war between the founder and the product team, because the founder is not really aware of what product management is and is not ready to relinquish control of the product that they are really close to someone that they don't know, that's a perfect stranger that they're not sure knows what they're doing. So there's so many layers to that, April. Thank you for asking that, because that is a huge component of what our goals are for Alberta in 2023.
Yeah, you really hit on like the next phase, because as we were the original goals get people pivoted into product management. And then of course, as you start learning and exploring, all of a sudden we had a couple startups created from the program. One of our students raised $2.5 million for her startup. We had some VC folks take our education, and they're like, we think VCs need this. So we're like, all right, listening, following the market. And then that's kind of like our next problem that we're looking to tackle. So yes, thank you for asking. Modvi, with Trace Coast. Yeah. So Trace Coast, construction management software. And yeah, they got raised 2.5 million. Yeah, right. Woo.
Do we have any other questions? No?
Oh, there's one.
Is the free program on the website sufficient to get started and land a job in product, or is that more of a starting point leading into one of the other programs?
Good question. I'd say it really depends on your experience. So we designed the program with SATE to be able to answer, have you worked in a cross-functional team? Have you actually built a product? Have you applied your education? So that applied cross-functional experience is very important to get a job. If you have that experience in a different way and then you use the free version, it could be enough. But we do see those two things being essential to get a job in product. Some sort of experience building a product and cross-functional experience.
The hands-on,
Yeah.
that comes with the SATE program.
Yeah.
And I have been told, I don't know if this is true, that there is a long wait list for companies to have projects done through the SATE program. Is there a wait list if companies want to access the students in those SATE programs?
Yeah,
They do it.
can be. So you can reach out to Sarah, like just reach out to us. We can connect you with Sarah, who does the sourcing for projects within the SATE ecosystem. So yeah, it is very popular. We've had, dozens of companies go through and we have repeats and they love it. So that question earlier about how do you bring product mindset to an organization, when you see it, it's pretty addictive. So I'm not sure what the wait list is right now though, but don't let
Okay.
that stop you.
There might
Like,
not be a wait list.
reach
Maybe I'm
out.
starting.
reach out. Yeah.
Okay. There's a wait list. Okay. There is a wait
There
list.
is a wait
Confirmed.
list. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, think about it as a founder. Yeah. Getting access to that combination of talent for free is pretty remarkable. Some
I mean, we've got enough to keep going. And ultimately, I mean, we just roll with what comes. Honestly, I think there's ebbs and flows in every phase and stage and season when it comes to education. And we have more than enough to take on 10 projects this go round. So yeah, I would say, no, I think we're okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave had just asked a question in the chat that I scanned over on accident. So thanks for reminding me. He was asking, what if a project does not use Agile, i.e. Kanban or Lean methodology? How does product then relate?
It kind of depends what your practices are, because lots of folks think Agile is like, okay, we've got a backlog, we're Agile, where we like to use this analogy that a lot of Agile education teaches you the moves without the music. So you can, so the moves being, I have a stand up at this time and we use Jira. The music is, yeah, we understand the need. We have speed to learnings. We share those learnings with the team. We empower people to solve problems. We ideate together. So you don't need that to hear the music and be able to move to it, if that makes sense. So if you have speed to learnings that everyone can access and you're able to quickly iterate and try things, you have a product mindset. If you have a document that doesn't change and you deliver it and then you don't look back at if it worked, then there's no music and there's no dance moves. So
do you work with the SATE capstone projects as well? Or do you know about that?
Our projects are capstone projects. We just don't use academic language typically when we go, because a lot of folks don't know what capstones are. So within our organization and talking to SATE, yes, we definitely use that language, but our projects, the applied component is considered a capstone in the academic setting. Yeah.
Okay, just one, because I've been mentoring the capstone projects for years, so I thought
Yeah.
maybe it might be a really good sync right there.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Christa and Renee, for being here.
Thank you. Excellent question.
If please feel free to reach out to them, tacitedge.ca, their social media, which is awesome. So definitely check that out. And thank you again so much for being here and for the conversation. And yeah, we're really happy to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your amazing questions. That's amazing.
Yeah, so we'll go into community announcements. Next week, Lunch Without Lunch will be in person at Innovate Calgary. We will be learning about the Social Innovation Hub. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that comes out in person. It's really awesome to have people here and interact with each other. Thank you for those online too, but if you can, please come in person. It's great to get out of the house and network and hang out, and I have lots of energy, so it's great to hang out. Anyway, yeah, come in person if you can. We'll throw the link in the chat, and I'll open up for community announcements. yeah, the poster. And do you want me to hang on to it?
Okay. My name is Laura, and I put on Alberta Bike Swap. I'm the founder, funder, and kind lunatic that puts this on. These are 65 of the 70 groups that we work with. If you have a bike to sell, we tech check it, record its serial number. As a software product manager, I designed the only bike swap software in the entire world. It tech check, it runs this. Thank you. Talk about how I know social innovation. So it actually taps Bike Index, which is the most relevant stolen bike database. And it verifies that the bike has not been reported as stolen. So you bring a bike to us between 8 and 2. At 2 o'clock, we let anybody in with a stolen bike police report because we trust our processes enough, as do the police and RCMP, to prove that your bike is not in our event as stolen. And at 2:30, we open the floodgates and you buy one of the tech checked recorded serial number bikes. And we also, the software actually registers you on Bike Index. Cool, eh? So here we go. So if you have a bike to sell, it's 8 o'clock. We're at Genesis Center. If you have a bike to donate, we work with this many groups. And so you bring your bike to us. If you have a donated bike, that would be fantastic because we make a significant impact. We had over 650 bike donations that went to these groups as well. We don't just do that. There's only, like you're talking about certification, I'm talking about cycling certification. We spend millions on infrastructure, but we spend nothing on how to get to or from or use that infrastructure. As a cycle commuter for over 50 years, my worst cycling accident was within the infrastructure when somebody behind me hit me hard enough to shear my molars off. I'm not very big, so that hurt. It took me over $16,000 to get my hands put back together and time off and stuff like that. So we fund cycling education. And the only recognized cycling education pro in Canada is something called CanBike, of which there are only upside down. God, you think I was blonde or something? Never mind. Okay, so here we go. CanBike. There are only 3 cycling in Alberta. There are only 3 CanBike cycling instructors in Alberta. My husband is a CanBike master instructor, and he's the only person who can say, I teach cycling education. Okay, so this is very important. That will actually go there. And so we fund cycling education with what we do as well. And here we go, because I mentor state digital technology students, that will go to your calendar. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Go ahead.
The database of,
What?
Thank you, Renee. What the database of stolen bikes, because I used to live in Montreal and bikes get stolen all the time. They take them over to Toronto, sell them on Craigslist there, and vice versa. Like how are the different provincial databases or cooperation with like police departments there coordinated?
Oh, that's a really good question, because what we worked actually with Cybersecurity Alberta, and the people that set up Bike Index are cybersecurity gurus. We tried to get into the National Stolen Bike Database, CPIC, but that actually depends on the police and the RCMP to put in, and they're almost a week to 2 behind. So it's not real time or live. So that's why we went with Bike Index. We actually went through Chief Justice Lametti and the RCMP, and they said Bike Index, way more relevant. So we used that open API and coded our software to that.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. Cool, eh?
Yeah,
I know. So your bike has not been reported as stolen as significant. Know your serial number. Do you know where your serial number is on your bike? If you have questions, it might be. It might be on the top too. It might be anywhere.
But
So,
how would you deal with that? Because like I had a friend who bought a bike off Craigslist. Turns out it was stolen, and you
oh, really?
were mad about it.
Oh, yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
paid money to this
Mhm,
guy.
yeah.
Got mad at that guy, and it was a mess. But how would you deal with it?
Well, we do not, the police have seized bikes from online sales and pawn shops based on what we have done for the last 12 years. So that's actually fairly significant. No record your serial number, your make and your model, and put that into Bike Index. They're one of our partners. Okay. If you have any questions about it, email me hello@albertabikeswap.ca. Okay.
Cool.
And all the background work is just my husband and me. We run our events with about 175 volunteers. We are in Calgary on May the 6th, always the first Saturday in May, and Edmonton the second Saturday in May. And we actually partnered with the University of Calgary on June 17th. We're putting a bike swap on there as well. So bike to donate, bring it to us too. We'll make a difference.
Did you code the 100%?
I did originally. And then after CBC Gem did a show on the impact that we did, seriously, after CBC Gem did a show on us, a coder came forward and coded it to cloud services. Okay. So yes, it's cloud-based. Yeah. And yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Okay, that's like 3, sorry.
Sorry, it's okay. You have questions about bikes. Yeah, we do not. So yes.
We'll maybe just head into the breakout rooms. Okay, cool. Yeah. So we'll just maybe head into networking in person here. Thank you so much, Laura. Please network and keep the conversation going. All right. Thanks, everyone. I guess they can't hear me online. So thanks, everyone. Enjoy.